Talk to me, Cleveland. We have officially started Chill Talk. This is your host, Kevin Chill Hurd, and we are here at least for a minute with the super producer, Felicia Haney. All right, what's going on, Haney?
I'm eating a smoothie.
Okay, now I told the people, a few of the people that were here before you got on, that you were in observance of Ramadan. And we've been through this before on the show. When does it start? When does it end? We see you eating right now. How the brief version of how does that work?
So Ramadan is actually the 9th month on the Islamic calendar. The Islamic calendar is a lunar calendar, just like the Jewish calendar. So that means that the months go by the sighting of the new moon. So they either last for 29 or 30 days. So it began yesterday, and it will last for either 29 or 30 days, depending on when the next new moon is sighted. And so during that month, we fast from dawn to dusk. So you get up before dawn, you would eat whatever that meal is that you plan to eat. Once dawn hits, you don't eat again until dusk, which just happened about 10 minutes ago or so. So I'm making me a fake turkey burger. That's why my what are things called? Smoke detector was just going off a minute ago because I was trying to make it in a toaster oven.
Okay, how's it a fake turkey burger? Is it vegan?
Yes.
Okay, wait a minute. So how does a vegan burger become turkey? Like, why is it just not a vegan burger? How's it a vegan turkey burger?
I do not know, and I've never had this brand. I just smashed the box up a little bit, but if you see on the box, it's got turkey.
I'm saying, why is it not just a vegan burger? How's a vegan turkey burger?
I guess they try to make it taste like a turkey burger. I have no idea.
Wow.
We're going to find out in a little bit.
I thought the object of the turkey burger was to make it taste like a regular burger, but not use ground beef. Okay, we're going to find out. We'll find out. What's going on? Andre Font, my other BFF, Andre Font, is in the building. What's going on, Andre? Everybody come on in, share it, share the show. We have a dynamic show today. So, okay, so how long do we have you here today, Felicia?
Only till about 9. I have to hop off. So another part of Ramadan, we spend a lot of time just like gathering and praying and things of that nature. So we are having a gentleman come to the mosque that I attend who happens to know the entire Quran like by memory. And so he is going to lead us in a prayer tonight. He not gonna do the whole Quran. I ain't gonna be there for that. But I am trying to get, a few of my blessings on. So I'm gonna take off from out of here about 9 o'clock or so to get myself together for that. But I'm gonna be eating my smoothie in the process, y'all. So I am here, but I'm eating. This is I don't know if y'all can see it. So I got a whole little blueberry, banana, strawberry smoothie going on with almond milk. And then I have and peanut butter, Chill's favorite. And then I have whipped that together, added some blackberries on top and drizzled a little honey. We good to go. I'll get almond butter next time.
Now I told the people, now we know that I think we mentioned it last week, so people need to still stay tuned because we will be giving away some type of movie admittance to the upcoming awaited new movie featuring Michael B. Jordan, Without AKA Remorse.
Lori Harvey's back.
Lori Harvey's in the building.
That's her boo thing. I said, AKA Lori Harvey's.
Oh, that's right. Again, share the show. Dynamic show this month is Autism Awareness Month. So we will be talking to some sisters on the subject, sharing information. So let the people know and make sure you share the show. Also,
Cyril, I wish I had thought about this prior, but a friend of the show, Nikki, remember our old singing buddy? What was it? When we, after the show, we used to go to
right. We went karaoke night.
Yeah.
After Chill Talk at the radio station.
She and her husband, who her husband's like the karaoke king, I think they have a son with autism.
Okay.
So I didn't even think about that part, that we should have invited them. So definitely next time. I did I also sent out an invite. I'm not sure if he'll be joining us maybe in the chat, but we did a show on autism once before. And so the one of the gentlemen that we had on the show, I did invite him to join us in the chat. So maybe he will. I am not on the chat because for some reason my Facebook isn't coming up on my computer. So I'm just talking straight to you guys on Zoom. So I'm not, I can't watch right now who's in the chat.
You're unable to man the chat. But anyway, so again, real quick, so everybody needs to stay tuned, stay ready for the free admittance to the new Michael B. Jordan movie, Without Remorse. We'll be giving you updates on that, as well as other free things. You know how we do it for the free for our people. Also, I told him, Felicia, that, you know, that I did get a chance to stop in. I know that I believe you came before me to acknowledge the memorial that they had for our brother Crazy D.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So I was off of the call by the time you came on. I'm not sure if you got a chance to say anything. I didn't actually speak at the memorial, but I was present, and she did, she meaning his wife, Tracy, saw that I was there. She gave us a shout out, mentioned Chill Talk, and, you know, just how he was a fan of ours, you know, as well as the show. So definitely rest in power to Crazy D.
Amen.
And all of our love and light to his wife, Tracy.
No doubt. Yeah, I did get a chance to get on to speak. And by the way, Lamont Robinson is in the building. He's shouting out that he is here.
All right.
So share the show, share the show. So yeah, I got a chance to speak. And like, you know, you already know, I told his wife how much that he meant to us. He's been a friend even long before, you know, that I've been doing Chill Talk back in the early days of hip hop in Cleveland. Crazy D has been a mainstay as a DJ, as a sort of a journalist, as a businessman. So yeah, and one of the things, everybody in Cleveland, he gave everybody their first chance to actually sell mixtapes from a building, from his record store. But everybody had to sell mixtapes from out of their car, or they carried around in their bag or their tote. So, you know, it gave artists, DJs a chance to have their things sold out of the record store, like the big boys. And that gave a lot of cats breaks for people to be able to hear all kinds of music from DJs all over the city. So, you know, all the DJs really appreciate Crazy D for that opportunity. So I know they probably also discussed that.
Yes, absolutely.
And we won't have time now, but you know, when we get a chance, we're gonna talk about shenanigans back going on in Minnesota, with another unarmed Black man being shot. And then Felicia and I talked earlier about the other brother. Was he a lieutenant? Was in the Army?
Yes, he was a lieutenant in the Army. Got pulled over by the police, pepper sprayed. They were trying to make him get out of the car, and he's like, "Why don't I have to get out of the car? Like, you just pulled me over. I don't even know what you pulled me over for. Why are you telling me to get out of the car?" They pepper spray him, pull him out the car, handcuff him. You know, before he gets out the car, he's saying, "I'm scared," and one of the cops was like, you should be like, why should I be scared in a traffic routine stop if you just pulling me over? Like, why do I need to be afraid of you? So it's just that mentality, you know, and so much of that is going on. And I know that those officers have since been fired, and I believe that that gentleman is actually suing them. Was the last that I heard. But something was really interesting to me about. So I saw that story being covered on what's the one that Gail is on? Oprah's girl, Gail.
Is that's not Good Morning America, but it's one of the network shows. So it's
Yeah.
ABC, NBC, and CBS show.
So I think it's CBS. I think she's on CBS. So they were covering it, and then they're doing, you know, their commentary thing after. So it's Gail and two white men. And so you know, they're just saying like, oh, I can't believe this, blah, 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 blah. And then the one guy is like, and who gets pulled over for tinted windows anyway? And that to me just shows the disconnect. Like he's saying it like, who even gets pulled over? I'm like, in a black neighborhood, everybody. They just don't know. They don't, that's not their life. They don't get it. They do not understand. So yeah, it's wild.
And one thing that, you know, that also concerned me, and I understood, because, you know, as Black people, especially Black men driving around, part of when they said that he didn't pull over right when they hit him with the flashing red and blues, he said he wanted to get to a well-lit area. Oh, I understand wholeheartedly not wanting to be pulled over by the police on the side of a dark road.
Yes.
I completely understand that. So, and he even said, for my safety and yours, like, so you can see what I'm doing, as, you know, whether I have to put my hands on the steering wheel or unlock the door. I need you to be able to see what I'm doing in a well-lit area, as well as for my protection. And I believe the policeman even commented like, yeah, a lot of people have been doing that. A lot of people. So he understood the concept.
Right.
But he
was better trained than they were. He was calm the entire time. He just, you know, was making sense. They voices elevated, they're yelling and pepper spraying and you know, I'm just like, which one is the professional here?
Right. So, and they did not care that he was in service, in current service to the country. He said, I'm serving my country. And the policeman replied something like, yeah, well, I did that too.
Right.
Okay, well, obviously there's no loyalty on that level. So it's terrible. Also, before we bring in our guests, our boys are back, Felicia. The Kofi Pi research team, Spears of the Mossy, Spiritual Combat, Volume 3.
Okay. Now, is this the one that's got a surprise in it?
Yes, it is a dedicated forward by LaDosha, by my BFF. By LaDosha Wright has a dedicated forward, and it has a forward by me.
Yeah.
And copy edited by Felicia.
Don't say that. I think I found a mistake.
See there. After it was all over with. Okay, now you tell me. Anyway, we'll be talking some more about Volume 3, Spiritual Combat, Spirits of the Mossy, Historical Survey of Minds of African Warriors, Scholars, Volume 3. We'll be talking some more about that, and we will sure to bring on members of the Kofi Pi research team. Now, their third volume of that book, but certainly they have so many books. What's going on, my man? Javante Guest, GMS in the building. What's going on, King? Share the show, let the people know. We're about it, as Ankh says, we almost at 10,000 people in the building. So let's keep people. Let's keep the people coming. And before we bring on our guests again, you see it in the box. It's in the chat box and the description box. If you want to donate, support Chill Talk, you see the Cash App money to the number 2 chill $ money to chill. Support the show as we continue to support you guys. So yeah, share the show and stay tuned for all the times that we're giving out free stuff, because more free stuff is coming. Is that correct, Felicia?
More stuff is coming. Now, I don't know how much it's going to cost.
I believe we do have a price that we usually charge for the stuff. And
well, if we can get it at a regular price, that means y'all can get it for the free.
For the free. That's what it is. All right. Are we ready to bring in our guests?
I'm ready.
All right. So again, as I said, this month and this show is pertaining to autism awareness. This is Autism Awareness Month, and that will be what we will be discussing today on Chill Talk. Want everybody to share the show. If you're seeing the show live streaming, share the show. If you're reviewing the show on Facebook, share the show. If you see the show as it is presented on the YouTube channel, share the show on the Chill Talk Radio page, on my personal page, on Instagram, like I said, on YouTube, wherever, the whole chillosphere. Share the show, share the show. Well, first I want to bring on Felicia, our good friend, and always has been a friend to Chill Talk, our sister Konnie Peroune. Go ahead and unmute yourself, Konnie Peroune.
Hello, how are you all?
How are you doing?
We are well.
Good. Thank you for having us.
Well, you know, all the time, Konnie, you always bring good things, good information, things we need to know about, talk about. And as you and Felicia, you know, you are our GCUF alumnus.
Thank you. Shout out to Felicia and both of you have a hand in supporting our youth for GCUF, so I appreciate that as well.
Well, now, Konnie, you called me the other day, and you started off with something which I was very knowledgeable of, but I'm glad you brought it to my attention. You said, you know, April is Autism Awareness Month. And I'm like, you know what? You're right, because as Felicia stated earlier, we've done, before we were in quarantine, and at the radio station up at Radio 1, we did do some programming for Autism Awareness Month. Felicia, was that like 2 years ago? That was before we didn't do it during the quarantine.
Yeah, that was prior to quarantine, so it's probably at least 2 years ago.
Okay. So I'm glad you brought that to my attention. So you brought some sisters with you. First of all, Konnie, introduce yourself, although our audience, our Chill Talk audience already knows you, but introduce yourself and then let us know who we have in the building with us.
Okay, well, I am Konnie Peroune. I am a writer, filmmaker, educator, and wife and mother. I have 2 children. Our bookends have autism. And what's funny is I'm a little bit nervous because I'm not accustomed to just talking about myself and my personal life. Yes, we have 2 children. Our daughter is 20 years old, Cheyenne, and then we have Sheldon, who's 11 years old. They have autism. And I feel like I've been in it long enough to share what I've learned, our obstacles, our highs and lows, our ups and downs, and our successes. My dear friend Beverly Malone, I talked to her, and we kind of thought that this was the right year to step forward and kind of just let the people in the Cleveland area know what goes on with us behind the scenes as far as autism goes. And then she introduced me to her friend, Salina, and the 3 of us had a wonderful conversation. And so then I was like, you know what, this is such great information. I need to talk to Kevin and Felicia to see if this is something that we could bring to the people. So that's how it all came about. And then Beverly can introduce herself. Salina can tell you more about herself. And then we'll take it from there, I guess.
Sister Beverly Malone, talk to us, Queen.
Hey, good evening.
Good evening.
As you said, I'm Beverly Malone. I too have a child with autism. I have two children. One has autism. And again, I mean, Konnie said it best. It's just time for more of us to understand what that is and what it's like and how we can all bring everybody together into the community and have a better understanding. So I met Salina really through doing a training to do just that for churches. And well, I met her before that, but I'm saying the whole idea of this year and just really trying to reach out to our community and help them understand, you know, that they're not alone and that there are resources in that, but there's also more we can do to make sure that we're including everybody.
Okay, but tell me a little bit about the Ohio, because you're involved with the Ohio Autism Support Group. Is that correct?
Oh, right. Yes, I'm the parent facilitator for the Shaker Autism Support Group, which is a support group for families. We meet virtually now because of COVID. We met in person before, and it's anyone who lives in the city of Shaker Heights. Really, you don't even have to live in Shaker, but and it's a place to get local resources as well as just meet other parents that are having the same experience you are.
Okay. All right, Sister Salina Miller, could you please unmute your mic and introduce yourself?
Hi, good evening, everybody. So my name is Salina Miller. I have two sons, one who will be 21 in a few weeks, and Elijah is 16. He's on the autism spectrum. He also has other complex medical issues, but I'm also a grandmother and guardian to a 12-year-old who just recently was diagnosed with autism. And again, I met Beverly through, we worked together, or will work past tense as after this Friday when I leave, but we work together and we are Facebook friends. And so we've talked about our children, and then she connected Konnie, and like Konnie said, we had this long, I think we were on the Zoom for an hour, just sharing our experiences. Because for us, it's always a pleasure to meet people who can understand those things that we go through, whether it's the small miracles that happen or the disasters and everything in between. So when you can relate to people, we ended up being on the conversation for a really long time. So
okay, so now you're a part of, as a lot of you are part of various organizations, but you're also the founder of something called Mother to Mother. Talk to me briefly about that.
I founded Mother to Mother in 2017 at the Word Church. Again, as Beverly mentioned, there's not a lot of resources for minority families. We typically have to drive way across town to go for support groups, resources, and information. And being a woman of faith, our African-American churches also lack that support. And so just trying to educate our churches as well as provide a resource to parents. So that's kind of how we got started. We started seeing or meeting each other twice a month. Then we spread to 3 locations. We did field trips together with our parents and our kids. So developing that community. We offer trainings, educations. I've had a chance to write a book and just a lot of different things. So our main thing is offering support and community to families.
Okay. Also, I want to give a shout out to Brother Anthony P. Alexander, AP, what's going on? Also to Greg Nice in the building. Everybody, again, this is an important show, some information that everybody needs to know. And we're thankful and glad that we have these sisters on here with us. First and foremost, can somebody explain to our audience what is autism? It's a word that people know, that they hear, they don't exactly readily understand what it is, especially as it widens, as the parameters Okay, first, just go ahead and give us, somebody talk to us about what is autism, and I know that it has a fuller name, but people refer to it often as autism. But somebody tell us about it. Give us some information.
Are y'all cool if I give them this short? But okay, so a great way to understand it is autism is neurological, meaning it takes place in the brain and it happens in development. So that's from ages 0 to 3. So around that time. So it's developmental and it's neurological. And the way that you kind of describe it is, and I wish I could show you a picture, but the wiring that happens, the connections in the brain during development, they kind of go in their own ways, so to speak. Is that good to say, ladies? And it affects it can affect your cognitive, behavioral, speech. What else? You guys jump in. A lot.
Social, sensory, even motor.
But the main thing to know is that it's something that takes place in the brain and that it starts at development. And you can begin to see signs between the ages of 0 to 3. So those are like the main thing. And autism is a spectrum, meaning people like to say, for the sake of this conversation, high functioning, moderate, and we're canceling out those things. It's just a spectrum. And when you've met one person with autism, you've only met one person with autism. Everybody's autism is different. It presents itself different, and characteristics are different. That's my explanation in a nutshell.
I heard a nice analogy the other day that autism is like cupcakes. Some have vanilla frosting, some have sprinkles, but they're all cupcakes.
Okay, now, and I know you said that, I believe it was Salina said that she gave us the 0 to, I believe she said 3. So even when you say 0, that in my understanding is that it is both genetic as well as environmental. Is that you guys' understanding of it? If not, acknowledge me.
No, it's developmental.
Okay.
So it happens, it really takes place like within the womb. Like these neurons and these things happen in the brain. They start to develop in the womb. So when I mean 0, I really mean like birth to age 3. It just means that you'll start to see things like children are always developing, like up until they become adults. You know, the brain is not fully developed until you're like really in your 20s. So your brain is always developing. And what the studies show is that during this age of birth to age 3 is when you see these characteristics or traits, or that it takes place. So
it's like that window of time where you notice that something is not happening the way it's typically supposed to happen for development of children.
Yeah.
So is this something that the doctor ends up, or the pediatrician ends up diagnosing? Is this something that a lot of times mothers have to inquire on their own? We're not just mothers, but families have to go out and inquire on their own. How does a parent first become aware that they're looking at a child on the spectrum?
You know, it's interesting you should ask that, because our kids get diagnosed later, right? So sometimes it depends on who you are. The pediatrician will do a screen, but meaning like they'll ask you some basic questions, and if your child raises red flags, then they may ask you to go for further testing. A lot of times the testing is done by a developmental pediatrician, not the one you go to all the time. So for our kids, a lot of times actually it comes up in school, but it kind of like she was saying, some people say high functioning, moderate, and so on. It depends on how much your child is impacted also. So some people, they don't get their diagnosis until high school or even as adults. But it's a condition that starts at 0 to 3.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a genetic component. It's really not environmental.
Okay.
It's just a question of if you get the diagnosis.
Okay.
What I can say for us, our first child, Cheyenne, for us, we never had a child to compare her to. So it took us a long time to get her diagnosed because 20 years ago, it was still relatively unheard of. And for us, we knew something wasn't right, but it took her, we took her to doctor after doctor. They were like, she's fine. She's just probably, you know, a late bloomer because she could still talk and carry on the conversation. But sometimes she would laugh and we had no apparent reason why. And she would have these bouts of just laughing where we couldn't snap her out of it. And my husband being, you know, from a different culture and believing that, you know, maybe we went to a thrift store and my husband hates, well, at the time he didn't like shopping secondhand. And so he was like, I don't know, did she bring something home with her? Like she's laughing and I don't know why. And I'm like, I don't know. And then when I talked to my mother, you know, no one knew what this thing was. And I just knew as a mother, my gut feeling was something is not right. And my husband was like, something isn't right because this is not normal. But when we took her in, they were like, she's fine. She can recognize her colors. They gave her a test. She could recognize colors, shapes, numbers, all before 2. And they were like, she's fine. She's really smart. And you don't have anything to worry about. But it started to progress. Even in school, it was certain things she would play in separate spaces from the other children. So it took us until she was 4.5 to be diagnosed. And it was me saying, look, something is not right and I'm not leaving until you point me in the right direction of someone who can help us because this is not normal. So it took a while. And then when our son came along, that was a whole other different story. His was just, it happened overnight. He was like developing well. And then literally over the weekend after a fever, he was a totally different child. But it's something for us on our end. We had to be the ones to say, look, this is the issue and we need help. Point us in the right direction.
Okay. And as we are joined by author from the Kofi Pi Side research team, he's in the building. My brother Shawn Califani, Shawn P. Shawn, I gave you okay, what else to do with the book? Oh, the new book. I have the new book here. We have the author, one of the authors of this book, Spiritual Combat, Historical Survey of the Minds of African Warrior Scholars, Volume 3. And I know for a fact that he has a topic. He's asking, am I going to ask the question? So Shawn, we will get to the question about the controversy, the long-standing controversy of MMR vaccines and its relationship to autism. We will definitely get to that question. And Shawn is in the chat. Shawn mans the chat. He'll jump on. So we will get to that, brother, for sure. Because you know, I have my book handy that I've already had, and that is Vaccines Did Not Cause Rachel's Autism. So I'm ready to talk about some information from this author. But Konnie, so as you were saying, is that you know you didn't know about this, you didn't have the information about it, it wasn't early diagnosed. So who do you turn to? I mean, now you have these sisters who have these support groups, but what did you do once you did get the diagnosis? How were you able to advocate for your child? What things were available? What did you do after that? That's
a really good question. And I will tell you that 16 years ago, it was different than it is now. There were no support groups that I knew of right away. And for me, I ended up contacting COSAC in New Jersey trying to find help, which is another state, because there was no real, I mean, you had the Autism Society here, but I could not connect to anyone right away because I didn't know where to turn. And my pediatrician, they just didn't know at the time. And then there was a long wait list for the Lerner School of Autism that's affiliated with the Cleveland Clinic. So, and I had this conversation with the ladies the other day. I was teaching at Cleveland State University at the time as an adjunct professor. And I remember a position came up and I was going to interview. I was going to take this position if they offered it to me. And that's around the time our daughter was diagnosed. And in my gut, I was just like, I cannot take on this position. And I don't know what's going on with her. We have this diagnosis, but I don't know what to do. So we made a really tough decision. And my husband was like, look, I will work and you stay home and figure out what you need to do with her. And you have my support, whatever I can do. So for me, it really was, I heard of this thing called ABA, Applied Behavior Analysis. And I just started researching and trying to figure out how to help her. And there was a program called Sunrise as well. So I found out some information about that program. But what I did at the time, and it was in my late 20s, because I had just finished my MFA in film from Columbia. All I really knew to do was to write film and make film. So what I started doing for my daughter, we decided to create a program for her through film, through things that I shot, and to get her to speak and kind of connect and socialize. So it was like an improvised, routine that I made up that fortunately over the years, it actually worked. But that's how we got started with her. And then gradually, as she got older, I homeschooled her for 5 years. As she got older, there started to become more programs and more parent-based education classes for parents who needed help. But it was a while. It took a while. We are in a much better state now in 2021 than we were when Cheyenne was diagnosed.
Salina and Beverly, hearing Connie's story, is this something that parents, especially parents in the Black community, often have to deal with? Not being able to get an initial diagnosis, then not knowing how to get support, how to advocate for their child once they do get the information. How common is what Connie is reflecting? How common is that in our community?
Oh, it's very common. The disparities in healthcare is real. And what we sometimes face is that doctors don't take what we say as being legit, or unfortunately, things have happened in past years where they feel as though minorities try to get that, what they used to call the crazy check. So you come in and you bring your child or your family member to the doctor and you tell them these things are going on because you want to get a diagnosis. A lot of doctors kind of started looking at minority parents when you come in with these grievances and looking like, do they believe us? Do they believe what comes out of our mouth? Is this true? It's unfortunate, but I experienced something similar to Connie. So it took me till Elijah was 8 to get a diagnosis. He had a diagnosis of developmental delay since 18 months. And I had to fight because doctors were saying to me, what I was saying was not creditable. Oh, well, he's communicating, or he smiles every once in a while, yet he doesn't fit any other check mark. He checks off on every other box of the assessment that he's autistic. But because he can occasionally say hello, or occasionally, like Connie says, put on a smile, they kept saying he's not autistic. When Elijah was 18 months, I knew that there was something different because he was not hitting the developmental milestones that like his brother. So I compared him to his typical brother. He wasn't walking, he wasn't talking, he wasn't crawling, he wasn't doing any of those things. So immediately I sought out his pediatrician, which they got us the developmental delay diagnosis. And we began services, but it's really, really difficult for minority families to get this because, for one, the testing that's done, the assessment was originally geared towards Caucasian boys. So the testing in itself is not even conducive to minority children. It really speaks to Caucasian white boys, which now 3 wonderful African-American researchers are now going back through these testing. So we should have better testing for our minority children. But definitely, like, when we talk about disparities in healthcare, it's real. These biases of what the professionals or doctors or therapists think about a specific group really plays a part in us getting these early intervention things that we need for our kids. So it's us now as parents that are coming to speak out. We're joining these groups. We're at the point where we're creating groups. If you don't find it, you create it and advocate, and teaching families how to advocate.
Well, and Beverly, go ahead. Now, I want to say, when they talked about advocating and having to create groups and come up with groups, you know, you're a part of the Ohio Autism Support Group. How does that work? How does that help sisters like Salina and Konnie once they actually are able to get the diagnosis, or trying to figure out what it means, how to best advocate for your child, for your entire family? How does groups like that work?
Well, first of all, just to close the loop, Konnie started the group.
Okay.
My son was actually born in Maryland, so we came here, you know, I don't know, like 6 years ago, but Konnie is the one that started the group. I mean, so it just illustrates what you said. For me, at least in my group, my experience with the diagnosis, one of the challenges with getting your information from school is that the school cannot say your child has this diagnosis. So we were in Help Me Grow in Maryland, which is Bright Beginnings now, and Bright Beginnings here in Ohio, which is where they'll come in, they'll give you whatever it is. They do a full developmental screen. So they'll give you whatever support you need, but what they won't do is give you a diagnosis. So I did Bright Beginnings. The people were coming to my home. We were talking to the speech person, doing all the things. We were in preschool, public preschool. So if your child qualifies through a developmental screen, every district has to provide free and public preschool to meet those needs if your child qualifies, right? So he's in this program. And for the record, 30 years ago, I babysat kids with autism. So I really had, in a way, experience and knew about it, but no one actually said to me, if you get this official diagnosis, you can do the ABA, right? They were all like, oh, you're doing enough. And he's made a lot of progress, but so in the support group, what I do is I tell parents, based upon what I know, here's what you can do. Oh, your child is using the autism scholarship. Well, here's what the district has to do with your IEP. Oh, you're looking for local resources, you need swimming. Well, here, they have it in Beechwood. Have you looked at the Soul and Blue Ribbon program? Do you know this other parent in your school building who has told me that, you know, their child has autism? So that you can meet if you even have time, because the reality is, I mean, Connie's story is so common, you know, where people really have to stay home because even if they have some support, it's not enough for someone to have a full-time job. You can't find camps, you can't find spring break camps. It's difficult to go to the grocery store, and especially when they're younger. They develop like anybody else develops, but it's differently.
Okay. Go ahead, sis.
No, so I'm saying, even connecting two parents together, you know, they're looking at one school, this parent went to that school, and I connect them.
Okay. Well, firstly, Sister Beverly Malone, you said you were babysitting 30 years ago. They let 5-year-olds babysit?
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Before we go back, I want to go back to Konnie, and Konnie, I did not know that you founded this organization, but Felicia, and I know you don't have a lot of time with us. Did you before you have to leave? Did you have any questions?
Sure. Well, of course, one of my questions also was about getting vaccinated, because it's usually when you bring up autism, that's something that kind of goes hand in hand with it, because there's this big debate on it. But I also wanted to know if you guys, and not that any of you are physicians, but about the diet per se, how diet is playing a part with autism, because I know I have a few friends who have autistic children, and they have had to change their diets, whether it be like gluten-free or, things of that nature. And if you have some older children, like Konnie was saying, who's like 20 something, there weren't that many gluten-free items available, 20 years ago. So I'm just wondering how that plays or did play a part, with raising an autistic child.
Yeah, so if you guys want to assess the diet, because it's going down when we get into the vaccine
Right.
discussion. So before we get to that, can we address the as Felicia brought up the
when you're
diet part?
mentioning about like the diet, do you mean like the food that we ate when we were carrying them, like a special diet, or do you mean like now that they're children, like is there specific foods that we need to give them? Is that what the question is, more so about the child, or
Yeah, now that they are here, have you noticed personally that diet does something in one way or another?
Yeah. Well, the thing is it's different for each child, but a lot of children who have autism also may have some type of digestive situation or disorder, which causes them to not either be able to eat certain foods or have to eat certain foods. I know for my son, he has GI problems, and so he has to eat a lot of green vegetables. A lot of kids also have what's called comorbidities, meaning he has ADHD and autism. So we don't give him a lot of red dyes and juices and that stuff that
Flaming hot Cheetos.
Flaming hot Cheetos and Kool-Aid, that type of stuff, because I mean, it's just like any other kid. You don't want to give him all that sugar because he's already, with his ADHD, kind of hyper. And, so when we talk about diet, we kind of try our best, but it's hard because of their repetitive and restrictive behaviors to try to give them foods that we really want them to have. If they won't eat it, we have to give them something, but we try to stay away from, like I said, things with red dye, GMOs, just like a diet for some, like any other child, just to maintain their health. But like I said, with my son, he has comorbidities and he has GI issues. So there are certain foods we have to stay away from. And there are more foods like vegetables that I need to give him to ensure that his GI is going well. So, yeah, I mean,
Okay, just for the people, Salina, what is GI?
Gastrointestinal. So that's your guts, your intestines, your bowels, your guts, that's all GI stuff. Stomach stuff, that's all in that GI range.
Okay. Konnie or Beverly, anything you want to add about the dietary necessities?
Beverly, you can go, and then I'll follow up after.
What I'm hearing from Felicia is that whole like gluten-free, dairy-free thing that you hear all the time when people talk about either ADHD or autism. I haven't found that to make any difference. I will say my son drank so much milk when he was younger, and now he won't drink it at all. So that's not exactly dairy-free, but he probably drinks a lot less than the average person. And we do cook from scratch a lot. And it ends up being a lot of vegetables. The GI thing is real. So getting enough fiber, getting enough water, but all of this is good for everybody, right? Like it isn't so much gluten-free, but just too much wheat isn't the healthy way for anyone, He does have a sensitivity to eggs. My other child is also allergic to tree nuts. We have a lot of food allergies in my family, though. I mean, I've got an 80-year-old aunt that's allergic to tree nuts too. So, and my brother's allergic to fish. I mean, so, you know, I don't know if it's directly related to the autism. A lot of people do special diets. Kids with autism hit adolescence just like any other kid. And a lot of people find it difficult to maintain past adolescence. And we already had tree nuts, so I didn't put too much stress into the diet myself.
Okay, well, I'm allergic to tree nuts as well, so
Oh, really?
no tree. No, let me give tree nuts the Ice Cube face. No, no. All right, go ahead, Connie.
No pecan pie for you.
Oddly enough, I can eat pecans and Brazil nuts, but when does anybody really eat Brazil nuts? But peanuts, almonds, all that other stuff can't
Peanuts are hard. My daughter can eat peanuts, but nothing else.
Yeah, no, but oddly enough, I can eat pecans. Who knows? Who knew? But anyway, no, Connie, go ahead.
Now, for me, I kind of more aligned with Salina on this one. Even for both of my children, the funny thing is our daughter, who's older, she is verbal, and our 11-year-old, he is nonverbal, though he's starting to say a lot of words. So we're hopeful that he'll be able to speak very soon. But what we notice with our kids, we do have to keep them on a strict diet because we can tell when their guts are clogged if they have bread, which would be wheat, dairy, cheeses, if they have pizza, which of course is most children on the spectrum, or adults, or even just any of us love pizza. Pizza, chicken nuggets, anything that's breaded, if they eat too much of that, we notice that they're, especially in our one who's nonverbal, he just becomes very noisy, he stims more. And what my husband noticed, he was like, you know what, it's something going on with his stomach. It has to be. And what we discovered is that certain products like graham crackers that most kids enjoy, if we give those to our children, instantly they become more hyper, agitated, they can't sit still, anything like Salina said with red dye in it. So we had to eliminate so many things, and our grocery bill is astronomical because we have to try to find the right things for them that don't interfere with their, and what we notice, if their guts are clogged, their brains are clouded. And our daughter is kind of like off in space, and you call her name and she's just like in her own little world. But if you give her, my husband makes them nice healthy drinks, so it's if they don't eat vegetables, he finds a way to put something sweet in there, like some strawberry, spinach, and those things tend to keep them clear, so they're able to focus a little bit better.
Okay.
Cooking from scratch avoids a lot of the dyes and stuff like that.
Okay.
But that's a good question, Felicia. A lot of parents deal with that whole dietary issue. A lot of parents. And we don't discuss it enough. And like you said, cooking from scratch. So what do you do to eliminate those symptoms that may arise due to their guts, their GI tracts being irritated? And so we found that a strict diet helps us.
And
Okay.
mineral oil.
Oh, mineral oil. See, we
Old
do.
school mineral oil.
Some
Castor
people
oil.
have used the Epsom salts for the magnesium, and we use a probiotic that has been very helpful. There's a lot of research out there on the gut.
And probiotic does work well with the gut. So yeah.
My kids, for sure.
I want to say what's going on to Daryl Shake and Bake Sullins, part of the Chill Talk family. He also has his own podcast, No Negations. So support him. And he's the winner of the t-shirt that we gave away that now I am in possession of. Felicia passed the t-shirt on to me to get it to you, Daryl, but now it was for the free. but now it's for a fee. No, I'm just playing. I'll give you your t-shirt. Give you your t-shirt, bro. So what's going on to Daryl Sullins? What's going on to brother Howard Ellis? And I believe Howard, if I'm not mistaken, you're not even, you're in the UK, Howard. Hit us up online and let us know where you're at. If I'm not mistaken, I believe you're in London. But if you're still and you're still watching, let us know where you are watching from. Again, for everybody that's watching, please share the show as we share this information. Again, share it if you're watching it live. Share it if you're watching it in the archive or somebody sent it to you, or you watch it when we upload it to the YouTube channel or on any of the various platforms that this show appear. Even show it when it's not live, because this is some information that we awfully hope that you share. Also, if you want to donate to Chill Talk, you see the information in the chat and the description box. Cash App, $money to chill, the number 2. But we promise you, we will be back in the radio station. Felicia, super producer, when do we get back to the radio station? When are we back in Radio 1? You on mute.
Have not gotten the back call, so I don't know. It's not just Chill Talk. It's all everyone at Radio 1. So yeah, we don't know. Safety first.
Yeah, safety first. That is correct. Okay, so Konnie, see, you were holding out on me. I didn't know that you were the founder of this autism support group. Okay, so talk to me about that. And how can people contact you? How is this just for you and your crew, or how does this work?
Well, they'll contact Beverly. Beverly runs it. So to make a long story short, maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, I was looking for an autism group in our community, Shaker Heights, and there wasn't one. And so I talked to the parent advocate at the time. I'm like, what's going on? Like, I see all this great stuff happening in New Jersey and all these other places. And can we get something happening here? And she was like, let me send out word to other families and see if this is something that they would like as well. So long story short, that's how it kind of came together. We gathered with a couple of mothers. This was before Beverly moved back to the Shaker area. And because of what I was dealing with my youngest, I could not be the one to run the group. So that is how another woman got involved. She left and Beverly actually took her place. Thank you so much, Beverly. So Beverly does the day-to-day grind, and I jump in and help out wherever, she needs me. So thank you, Beverly. And you'll want to reach out to Beverly. So Beverly, you can give them more information and then talk about the fundraiser too.
So before COVID, you would have heard from this parent mentor. That's how you would have heard about it. But as soon as everything kind of shut down and they started sending kids home, I said to myself, I've got to put something together. And what's interesting is that the parent mentor at the time, her name was Holly Palda, and she retired. So, we did a couple in the spring, virtual, and then she retired, and I didn't hear anything from the district because it was summer. And so I was like, well, I don't want to step on anybody's toes, but I made a Facebook page, and it's a Shaker Autism Support Group, real easy, on Facebook. And then the email is Shaker Autism SG, like support group, @gmail.com. And you can also find us on the event calendar at milestones.org. Milestones is a local autism resource service. And really, like what Konnie was saying, it's parent led. I mean, I support and facilitate. People ask questions and I do my best to connect them with another parent or with whatever the resource may be. So for example, Konnie came to me earlier this month, just late last month, talking about respite. Now, respite is caregiver support. So, a lot of people don't realize, again, that there are some kids that are in the public schools, but there are also some kids that are in private schools. She mentioned the Learner School, there's the Monarch School, and this is because their needs are intense. And even in public districts, they'll have self-contained classrooms. And so when they're home, they need 24/7 supervision. I mean, some kids hardly even sleep and they're up at 2 a.m. trying to leave the house. You've seen kids like this on the news, right? When you hear that an autistic kid went missing in the middle of the night. And so respite is when you get care for your child so you can have a breather, go to the grocery store. And so we're doing a fundraiser, as Connie mentioned, right now. Connie's amazing, but I guess you already know this. She called me like, I'm making bears and keychains and hair bows. And I was like, well, this is awesome. You know, do I need to make something? She's like, no, I'm gonna make it all. It'll be fine. Just get the word out. And so Connie, can you tell us what's left? I mean, some of it's sold out. They were glow in the dark. I mean, blue.
Yeah, we sold out of those.
Yeah, I know, but I just want everyone to know how awesome you are.
So I don't know if you can see this. They're little like Care Bears, autism Care Bears. So we had some that glowed in the dark. We sold out. We have 3 of these left, 3 bears. And so the fundraiser, these are $15 a piece. The fundraiser is to help. Our goal is to at least support 16 families. And this is an actual, this glows in the dark. It's a keychain. It's $12. It's really great for those parents who, like, when you want to go out, especially in the summertime, and you want to keep an eye on your kid, you charge this by the light and it glows in the dark. So it's a little glow in the dark Care Bear. And then we have glow in the dark hair clips. And then we have, and Felicia and Chill, you'll get one of these for supporting us and having us on your show. This is a glow in the dark puzzle piece keychain. So that's $10 and $12. And so we're raising the funds to pay for respite services for parents, so they can have at least 2 to 4 hours where they can get away, go get a massage, take a nap, go shopping, or whatever it is they want to do. But it's to help other people in the community, other parents, just get a break.
Okay, again, how do people donate to this? How did I know some of the things you said that are all sold out, but how do we? And I know Felicia, before she left, she was able to put a couple of things. And I saw Salina put some information.org. So is that where do they reach you guys to donate to this?
Beverly.
So again, you can reach out to me on Facebook. You can email at shakerautismsg at gmail. If you want to just give cash, we also have a fundraiser through IOB and partnering with Neighbor Up, where we have a dollar for dollar match up to $3,000. And I don't know where to put that, but I can put that link wherever Salina put a link.
Yeah, Salina put the link in the chat, in the Facebook chat.
Okay.
Yeah, because I have my phone up with it on at the same time to share
Got it.
Share the conversation.
Well, I'll text it to Salina so she can put it in the Facebook chat.
Okay.
But yeah, basically the idea is just to give people a break. It's been a year. Some families, their kids with autism still are not back in full time. And it just really, when she came to me about it, I was like, absolutely, I'll do whatever I can. And that's a great idea to support our families.
Well, and although Felicia brought it up, although she did have to leave, we do want to address the elephant in the room, and at least as far as my show is concerned, because we've been over vaccination information many times. We've had doctors, we've had researchers, scientists, immunologists, virologists weigh in on this. So Shawn, just in case this conversation goes sideways, stay on deck with your own information. But let's talk about it. And you saw I shared the book because it's information that we've gone on over before. And this is a book that my good brother, a good friend of the Facebook family, brother Ankh West of the Pseudo Killers, put me on with, and it's called "Vaccinations Did Not Cause Rachel's Autism." This book is by Peter Hotez, and the person who wrote this book. This book somebody's
Sorry.
okay, that's all right. I do it all the time. Peter Hotez, the author of this book, he has all the bases covered on this topic. He's a vaccine scientist, he's a pediatrician, and he's an autism dad. So I would suggest anybody who wants to know specifically about autism as it relates or does not relate to vaccines, this is a book that I suggest that you check out. So what are we hearing? What had we heard? What information did we have? Do we currently have? Did your information get changed? Where are you guys standing at on the subject of autism, and specifically the MMR, measles, mumps, rubella vaccine?
Salina?
Why me?
Because you were the one smiling like, ah, here we go.
Because I mean, we hear it a lot. We hear it a lot.
I did that.
I'll be honest, I'm not a doctor, and I didn't get Elijah vaccinated when he was first born. He didn't get vaccinated until later, and he had developmental delays and everything prior to him being vaccinated. So if you want to talk from a personal standpoint, I'm not sure. I've heard that they think that it does. I think there could be a lot of other things that can contribute to it as well. But the verdict is still out. I'm not saying yay or nay, because to be honest, I really don't know. There's a lot of things that support that it doesn't. But I was also told that being pregnant and taking Tylenol could cause it. Overtaking of prenatal vitamins could do it. I mean, there's so much that's out there research-wise about this.
So an interesting thing about that is that there are actually a lot of things that cause autism. Autism isn't one thing. Autism is it's like I don't know, it's kind of like allergies. Do you know what I mean? Like you're allergic to peanuts, but my daughter's allergic to pecans, right? Like there are actually a number of genes that have been identified that are responsible for some people's autism. There are the vaccine report that came out, that gentleman made that all up.
Right, Dr.
He literally made
Wakefield.
it all up.
Dr.
Like,
Wakefield, yeah.
The gut connection, kids have a tendency to have ear infections and so forth. She mentioned her son had a fever. My son had a fever and a virus before losing speech as well. So I've read a lot about there being a connection between, fevers and maybe even the antibiotics, but the reality is that there's so much evidence leading towards this really having a lot to do, like Salina said, with just in the womb and genetics, not genetics like it's your fault because you're the parents and you're a carrier, not like sickle cell, but that there are just some of us are just wired differently.
Right. And that's what I initially said, like you brought up peanuts, and so I said environmental, and then also said genetics. But like you said, not like something that happens to the genes on a genetic level. And I'd like to, if brother Shawn does a show almost daily. He's been very good about getting information out about these things called Science with Shawn. So if Shawn, although I know he's out promoting his new book that he is a co-author of, Spiritual Combat, but if he wants to jump here and give some information on the MMR autism controversy. But in lieu of whether he's here or not, as you just said, Sister Malone, the reason that I am not a doctor either, but I play one on Facebook. But this is backed up by not only several other documents, but also Dr. Peter Hotez. Again, invaluable information. You can't get more personally involved. Shawn, go ahead and grab the Shawn is in, he's watching the show. Go ahead and grab the Zoom link that's in the description box. But like I said, this gentleman is a vaccine scientist, a pediatrician, as well as an autism dad. So he has every reason to know what he's talking about. But yeah, as you said, this gentleman, Dr. Wakefield, who started all of this commotion about the connection between autism and the MMR vaccine, has been discredited. Actually, I'm gonna stop playing scientist and let Shawn get in here to just give us some brief information about why we even thought that, where it came from. So, and Shawn does a show, like I said, almost daily, called Science with Shawn. So Shawn is hard at work dealing with the COVID vaccine misinformation, but now we're pulling them back in to the autism vaccine. And again, brother Shawn Calfani, one of the co-authors of this new book, brand new book, Spiritual Combat, a historical survey of the mind of the African warrior scholars, volume 3. As I said, I have volume 2. I don't have volume 1 at my fingertips, but believe me, I have it. What's going on, brother Shawn? Have you been listening to the show?
Yeah, I've been listening, man. Right here, just holding on.
All right, and how, first of all, Shawn, how often do you do Science with Shawn? Because it's popping up on my timeline, which seems like every day, and I take time to get all the new, because you got the breaking information on all vaccine related information daily. How often can we see this, and why do you do it?
Well, first I do it to educate the people, our people, to make sure that they have an informed decision about vaccines, vaccine science, and the evolution of vaccines in general. Secondly, I do it to combat pseudoisms, because social media has provided a platform for misinformation to circulate through the media a lot quicker than people, going and learning in the classroom, which I think that is shunned or frowned upon these days. And so for those two reasons, we want to make sure that we have the right information to make an informed decision, and we're not making one out of ignorance.
Okay, so you said you've been listening to the show, and so I know that you occasionally have to answer these misinformation about the MMR vaccine. In the past, you were really dealing with it as what we're talking about now, as connections to autism, but lately you've been just dealing with misinformation about vaccines, specifically the COVID-19 vaccine. But let's go back a minute, and Sister Beverly brought up the report, the doctor, and I know it's Dr. Wakefield, yeah. But tell us, to your information and study, where did that come from initially, and what happened to that information after Dr. Wakefield put it out to the public?
So Dr. Wakefield's conclusion was faulty from the get-go. However, he was also he was a conflict of interest, meaning that he was paid to prove something that he hadn't yet proven, and but he was also trying to work on the other side. So he was playing both sides against one another, except for the fact that one side was actually paying him to provide data, to use in an argument to substantiate a faulty claim. But based on science, when science had an opportunity to answer the question, meaning they took the research question, tested the research question, tried to falsify the research question. Once it was falsified, other data became available. That's why you can detect if autism will be present in a child earlier now. I know, hold on, I don't want to mess her name up. Miss Connie, if I said that right. She said her child developed it later, like closer to 4 years old, if I'm not mistaken. But you know, now they can detect autism now in the womb, right? So they can see that now. And science has allowed itself to evolve in an area to answer those questions much quickly versus back then. So I think that the position of Wakefield was one of pseudoscience. When you go back and you analyze the work, and Unbiased loves to do this with Wakefield's work and Ankh too, is that there's just too many holes in the overall research to actually to come to that conclusion when it was, you know, you paid to do that. Like, we need you to say this. And, you know, they put him in a compromise and he's no longer eligible to practice, was no longer eligible to practice in the field of medicine. And then that speaks for itself. Many people don't speak to that about the conclusion on Wakefield. And, you know, so we get into that part of it where we have to go a little bit deeper than the layperson. The layperson is looking for a short answer, but when it comes to vaccines, specifically the MMR, and you know, trying to link it to autism, you have to do more work. It requires more digging, and it requires more detail to answer those onset of questions.
And if I'm not mistaken, Shawn, I believe Dr. Wakefield's his finding, his faulty biased findings were first published. I believe it was in the Lancet journal.
Yes, and yes, in the Lancet, it was published in the Lancet and retracted.
And retracted.
Yep, and people don't speak about the retracted papers of Wakefield, and this happens a lot in not a lot. This happens in science often, where someone would, for instance, publish something regarding vaccine science, and then once it, you know, it gets published, right? They have a certain amount of eyes on it, and the next thing you know is people falsifying this information, and then, you know, it's retracted and people don't read the retraction, or because they don't know that a retraction actually exists. When, like I said again, social media, they just deal with one part of the argument and not provide the whole argument, the whole body of work. So, you know, when you dispel a myth, you're labeled. You know, people don't want to pay attention to you, or they want to argue with you about things and take you 1,000 different places. But the truth of the matter is, this is about our existence, our children, our health, our children's health. I tagged my cousin because her son has autism. I mean, you look at him, you wouldn't see it, but he's doing great. He's, you know, he's learning, he's smart. Like, and we see this in the children. You know what I mean? They begin to, at some point, defy the odds. You know what I'm saying? So you see these bright lights that shine. And you know, some of them are very, very, very more, very much smarter than other children. And you know, they just have the path. They have a different path to take, and we just have to understand that and have that pay. I think, listen, all of y'all have my utmost respect, my cousin, because watching my cousin have to go through the what she had to go through, as far as the patience and, trying to teach and the reoccurrence of teaching at times. I think that not only are the children special in a great way, but the mothers of those children are also.
Okay, now I see we are being joined, and I tell everybody this book was invaluable to me, but I first ever heard about this book, Vaccines Did Not Cause Rachel's Autism, from the brother who is joining us right now, brother Ankh, the pseudo killer. And like Shawn, he spends an incredible, admirable amount of time sharing information on vaccines and vaccine misinformation. And of course, one of the things that he was in a debate with like he likes to say, with the big boys of the anti-vaxxers, who were trying to make the connection between the MMR vaccine and autism. So I'd like to bring my brother Ankh on. I don't know how much of the show you've seen, Ankh, but all of these sisters here on the panel, it is Autism Awareness Month. They're all in some form of fashion dealing with the spectrum of autism with their children and forming support groups and supporting each other. And of course, we were eventually going to get to the subject of autism and the MMR vaccine. So Ankh, I don't know how much of the show that you've seen, but did you have anything you wanted to share with these sisters? And you're on mute, Ankh.
Yeah, I just want to say hi to the sisters, man. And just appreciate them sticking with the kids, because I know, it's a struggle, but it's what we're gonna have to do, yo. And I just appreciate them.
All right, and Shawn handled most of the hard work, and of course, thanks to you, brother Ankh.
Yeah, that's it.
I have this information from this book.
What page you on?
What page am I on? I have my book. I'm on 89, which is about halfway through the book.
89.
I'm on 89. So
you get to the autism chapter yet?
I believe so. First of all, Ankh, you send out so many books that I got to keep before I can finish a book. I'm going out and getting other books, so I don't mess you making me lose money, spend a lot of money on all of these books. But
yeah, you ain't get to the autism chapter yet.
but sometimes I go to the end, then I go work backwards. But anyway, while we have you here, Ankh, Shawn talked about Wakefield, but why does this question persist? Why is it relevant? Why do people still regurgitate this information about the autism is caused by the MMR vaccine? Why are we still hearing this?
It's just the misinformation and conspiracy theories that's been introduced into our community wholesale now. So, we you know how it is, man. If some people got a cold, we got a flu. So it's just a misinformation campaign in full effect. Facebook, YouTube, and the internet really wasn't ready for it. And that's why they kind of beat the scientists and the legitimate doctors to the punch on it. So, we've been doing this for about close to 20 years. And everybody was looking at us like we was crazy. And so now they see the need for this. I'm glad the scientists and the doctors is finally jumping in. Glad to see. We've been doing this, just buying books from colleges and universities and read them and teach them and just teaching ourselves. You feel me? So it's part of the essential package for conspiracies, and the autism one it sits right there, and it's ridiculous. Did y'all go over when autism occurred and all that? Y'all talk about that?
No,
Shawn
we touched on it briefly. You know what I'm saying? I used the example of Miss Konnie, which is on the panel. She said,
no, but she corrected, Konnie. What was the correct information that you said, Konnie?
We noticed our daughter at 2 years old, but she wasn't diagnosed until she was 4.5.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's about, and that's around the time they get their full payload of shots too. Yep. So it actually starts to around 2. Absolutely. That's around the time. Yep. When it starts to what's the term they use? I can't even think of the term right now, but that's when autism. But the reality of the situation is autism actually occurs in the womb. And so they can basically tell based off of the gray matter in the brain if a particular baby is going to have autism or not. So they can do the scans now in the brain, and they'll know based off looking at the gray matter whether that particular baby will be on the spectrum of autism. And so they know it's not the vaccines. Okay, they know. As a matter of fact, they've identified over 100 genes that actually cause autism. So they've identified the genes. They know when it expresses itself, like the sister said, around 2. And so it's just a ridiculous notion to even remotely think that the vaccines had anything to do with it. So far before any baby gets a vaccine, it's going to happen. So really now when they start dealing with genes, they're trying to catch it super early. That way the mother can make a decision on whether they want to have the baby or not. So there you go, modern medicine.
So, and part of why people were saying that, another one of the reasons they were trying to make the connection is because there was an increase in diagnosis of autism, but there are several other reasons for the increase. I mean, we know now because the spectrum has widened.
The spectrum is right.
Right.
Eating disorders, they add that into the spectrum now. And so as the spectrum broadens, as they learn more about it, of course, you're going to make more diagnoses. But this is simply, and it's in the literature, but most people don't even understand that. So, I mean, I get it. You have to read, you have to study or ask questions we always send people to the experts. Get to the experts and ask the question, why the numbers of autism went up? Because the spectrum has widened, that's why. But nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear the truth.
They just want to hear that it's vaccines, because that's what's stuck in their mind is vaccines. It's vaccines.
Yeah, they want to make it vaccines,
They
but
want
it's
to feel
not.
like there's something they can do.
Mm-hmm.
If I just don't do this, then I won't have to worry about that.
So if I don't get them vaccinated,
we talk about
then my
conspiracy
child
theories now before it was superstition.
Yes.
Right. And now that people are having a choice not to take the MMR vaccine, guess what? Now measles is, as Ankh says and Shawn says, measles is on its way back. We almost had it eradicated. But now that people are opting not to have their kids vaccinated, and as I've heard Ankh and Shawn say a million times, something that our mothers, our parents had the good common sense and foresight to make sure that we are vaccinated and we are protected and covered. Now the next parents are choosing not to have their kids vaccinated, and guess what? Measles are starting to pop up again after it was almost eradicated. Did I get that right, Ankh?
Yeah, you got that right. But measles was dangerous. It wiped out populations of babies. That's a regular occurrence. In the 1700s, people used to have about 15, 16 babies, and only 3 made it through. Made it to the age of valuable offspring, or made it to the age of being able to reproduce. So measles is a killer. The thing is, this is the thing about vaccines. They work so well, they're their own worst enemy. Nobody thinks about vaccines. But matter of fact, Chill, me and Shawn been talking about vaccines close to 3 years now. They was actually looking at us like, what are you talking about? Vaccines, like, what is this? Why y'all on that vaccine stuff? You talk about something else. I remember this like it was yesterday. I say, because it fits with evolution. What do you mean? Well, viruses mutate, transform. And I feel like we just need to know this information. Not gonna sit up here and lie, but Shawn, we've been reading books like this, Chill, Delia's Enemy. Okay, Michael Osterholm, PhD. He's an infectious disease investigator. Okay, so I've been knowing about SARS and CoV for years now, and I knew it was on its way back, and I knew it had the potential to mutate. And I just wanted to put our community ahead of the race. right? And I think we did a good job of that. We
Right.
actually did. But the autism thing, that's what Reza Islam is going to try to bring to the table. And so I wanted to make this point very clear. There's a group that the community has trusted for over the last 90 years. And they have brought the misinformed Europeans into our community, the anti-vax community. And just a basic study or research on the anti-vax community, it actually started when the African genius had brought forth a means of fighting against pathogen with the pathogen in the 1700s. And we talk about this all the time. They used to call the smallpox the nigger itch, just like that. And they was like, we're not listening to those niggas. They gave it to us. Why would we listen to them then why would we infect ourselves with smallpox not to get smallpox? Like they didn't understand it at all. Okay, this is where the anti-vax movement started. It was a racially charged movement that is pushed forward to this day. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., okay, Dale Bigtree, Wade Field, and who brought them to us? The Nation of Islam. Okay, they brought us in our community, and the number one sticking point is vaccines cause autism. That's the playbook. I think it's disingenuous. It's not fair to the mothers and fathers that have kids that are autistic. And by the way, a lot of autistic kids grow up, they don't even want to be considered that. You know, they do well in society. And so the fact that they would use that is very hurtful to the mothers and fathers. Okay, and it's hurtful to our Black community to even bring miseducated anybody amongst us, let alone white people. You know, it's a bunch of malarkey. Right. So I just wanted to put that out there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm not trying to stress everybody out, but some things just has to be said. Well, go ahead, Chill.
No, we appreciate the information that you bring, because part of what these sisters all have been saying is that, one, they've really been out here at first on their own. They've gathered together, they formed support groups on how they themselves have to advocate for their children.
That's right.
And they're not alone in our community of having to deal with this. So Konnie, Sister Beverly, Sister Salina, what information would you have for families out there with children on the autistic spectrum? I see Konnie holding up a book. We love to see books around here.
That's my book. That's my book.
Oh, wait a minute.
Salina's book.
Salina, that's your book.
Yes.
Yeah, I co-authored that with two other special needs parents, Patricia Parker and Nikki Montgomery, and it's called We Dare Be Brave. And it is the
Pull it out. Where's the book? Let's see it.
Connie's showing the book.
Well, you can't see my light too bright.
We need the link.
I can put the link. It's on Amazon. It's called We Dare Be Brave, the African American Moms and Our Emotional Journey of Raising Children with Disabilities. So we talk about our journey. And we give good tips and tools, practical. It's not techie, so parents can follow it rather easy. It's not real techie, and it just talks about what we've been through, our journey, our struggles, our triumphs. And thank you, Konnie, for showing the book. But I can post the link like in the chat or something, but it's in Amazon.
Sister Salina, how you gonna have a book out and not even tell us about it? And we're here talking about Konnie. That's why.
He said it so quick. And you'll appreciate that she took the title from Maya Angelou's poem. Oh my goodness, what's the name of the poem? Angels.
Touched by an Angel.
Touched by Angels. Thank you very much. So it starts with Maya Angelou's poem, and it's done so well by she partnered with two other authors. I'm sorry, I'm pitching this for you.
Pitch it.
But they put the poem in there, and it kind of weaves this journey that autism moms go through in 3 phases to actually become an advocate for their child. So it's quite unique, and I am done with it. Actually, what's beautiful about it is it's not laborious. It's something that mothers can read in between time and share with their friends. I've highlighted so many wonderful things, but their collaborative effort on this is, I love it. And I will make sure that I share it with other parents. It's quite powerful.
Okay, well, Salina, go ahead, Shawn. What was you saying?
Salina, do you have direct copies so that Amazon take money out of your pocket?
Yes, as moms, we just wanted to make sure we get the resources out, but we do. We do. Yes, sir. I do.
So
okay, okay. Sure, you know what I want to do.
Yeah, Shawn wants to buy a book. He wants to buy a book. We got a book sold.
I need two. I need two though. I need two because I want to give one to my to my cousin.
Okay.
I might buy three because I might want to give one to my auntie too.
Okay. Well, I don't know how we can connect so that I can.
She'll gonna make it.
I have your email.
Okay.
And I'll connect your email with I do have your email. I sent you the link for the Zoom link. Okay, so I will connect you and Shawn.
Well, you get it on Amazon, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Shawn trying to
book now.
Shawn trying to I see it.
I'm trying to cut the middleman out. I'm trying to cut the middleman out.
I ain't the middleman, man. It's called marketing, man. You pay for marketing on. Get out of here, man.
Another book sold.
Thank you, guys.
You pay the marketing fee. You pay the marketing fee. I'm gonna go to the office. I want my book signed.
You got it.
All right. Well, we appreciate that. And it's 9:53, and I promised the producer I will not go past 2 hours on this show, but on any show. She said, chill, if you was hanging out with Ankh and them and you starting to do 3-hour, 4-hour shows if I'm not around, ain't nobody want to, mess with you in your 4-hour show. But
they get the most views, don't
they? Hey, well,
that's crazy.
Ankh, you start off with 10,000 in the building. He's 5 seconds into the show, Ankh, you got 10,000 in the building.
10,000.
I want to say what's up to my brother Ansar Bustamani, my Bustamani family out there. What's going on, my brother Larry Gardner? What's happening? Please share the show. Let everybody know this information. And now that we've connected with Ankh and Shawn, we've added an extra 10,000 viewers to the show since we got Ankh and Shawn in here. So spread this information, share the show, and also if you want to donate or support Chill Talk in any form or fashion until we get back to the radio station, like Felicia said. But we're, the radio station is not, they will not let us in, not just us personally, but nobody can go into the area that we were doing shows up at Radio 1. But until then, you can still support Chill Talk. You see it in the chat. You see it in the description box. Cash App, $ money, the number 2 chill. Any donation, we'll take a $5 holla if you want, but we will take that big blue face Benjamin if you want to. But anyway, real quick, Beverly, Konnie, Salina, again, for and that's what I was saying. I don't know if you already answered this for women who are out there. I know you threw up the book, so we got that rock, and we sold 4 books already. But what else? Because I know it's a struggle. What other advice can you have for sisters out here in the community that are looking for help, that are really trying to advocate for their child?
I really want to say again about Salina. She's doing trainings for police officers now, because you'll notice a lot of these interactions, you're ending up with somebody with either autism or other disability having these violent interactions with the police because of inappropriate social responses. And similarly in the schools, there's a huge overlap between autism and ADHD and who's getting suspended, especially for our Black boys. So I just encourage everyone, like Konnie and Salina said, if there's anything that you think is letting you know it's just not right, talk to your pediatrician and see about getting the diagnosis so that you can hopefully get some additional protections in school and in society in terms of these overly harsh responses people are having to kids who aren't jumping to say the right thing immediately.
All right,
That's big.
Lisa Collins is in the building. She says Salina is an amazing advocate and she's made a difference in so many people's lives. Way to go,
Oh,
Salina.
thank you, Lisa.
Awesome.
Connie, you get ready to add something?
I'm just, I put it in the chat, but what I really want to do is just kind of share what I've learned over the years with my own 2 children with autism, having one who can actually communicate and one who is considered nonverbal but is learning to speak. So I just have some free information. I have a children's video series that's free on YouTube. For me, I had children who Disney movies kind of made them really wired and antsy and, you know, kind of violent at times. So I created a tool to teach them in a fun way, using a little bit of music, which you'll appreciate, a little bit of funk, soul, rap. And I posted it in the link here. It's free. You can use it as you see fit. For me, I love to have a video that I can turn on while my son is with me shopping. And it's something that he can learn, you know, to speak with. It's meaningful and it's fun. And it, you know, it showcases not white children or boys or girls, but it's a multicultural cast of kids. So that's free on YouTube to any parent, educator, caregiver that needs a break for a few minutes, but they want their child or young adult to digest something positive. So
I know you put it in. I know you put it in the chat. But what's the name of that again?
it's called See Me, Be Me.
Okay, see me, be me.
Yes.
Okay, all right, guys. We are approaching the hour. I'd like to thank everybody for sharing their information. Ankh and Shawn, thanks for the extra 10,000 viewers and sharing and all of that. So get that information out. Beverly, thank you very much. Salina, you got 4 books, at least 4 books sold, and Ankh's already dropping his Ankh's about to make his donation anyway. Shawn wants autograph copies, so he's eliminating the middleman, which Ankh said it's just marketing.
Yeah, that's marketing, but shit, you got to pay for that. Got to pay to play for the whole world to see your book. Pay to play.
So I will send that. I will send the email to Shawn, and you guys can link up and you can work your hand and get your signed book. And again, I do want to say that Shawn and as part of the Kofi Pie Side research team has a new book out, Spiritual Combat. A historical survey of the minds of African warrior scholars, Volume 3. Now, Ankh, I know you did.
Can you open that book? Can you open that book? Who in that book?
Okay, and Ankh, now I know, Ankh, that you did a forward in Volume 1?
Yeah.
Okay, you know, as they move
the
up.
Value.
Well, it might be the best volume, but it's not the best forward.
What you talking about? What you got to be
because in this forward we got a forward by Kevin Chilherd. In volume,
read it. You know what, Chill? Which one? I'm gonna read that. Chill.
The new one, Ankh.
I got the new one right here. Spiritual Combat.
Not the old one that was put together with paper clips. The joint.
This one, right?
That's right.
I don't think you're forward better. I don't believe you, bro. That's fire. That's classic forward, yo.
Okay, I will see.
Talking about that for years, man.
But yeah, support the Kofi Pie Side research team. Not only do they have just those 3 volumes of the African minds of the African warrior scholars, man, they got loads of books. They have children's books. Brother Ankh is working on a new joint, but he has his chronology of evolution that's available. There it is right there. It's also on Amazon. But you know, these people have books and books. Like I tell people, this is not a green screen behind me. We do books here.
Yeah, we do books.
So I appreciate you guys. I'm about to get in trouble because it's 1 minute after 10. Felicia gonna be calling me back. Like I told you. So we appreciate you, sisters. keep the struggle. Anything that we can do on Chill Talk, any connections, although we know you have Konnie Peroune, she's fantastic. And my personal expert filmmaker, Konnie, I still got to talk to you about that one project,
Please.
but we will talk. Appreciate you guys, Ankh and Shawn. Thanks for always being there. Shawn will send out that bat signal, and Ankh Keck will show up. We appreciate it. We up out of here. Let me wave the. I know it's not a real. It's not a real African nation, but I got the Zamunda flag.
Yeah, you bugged out.
But we appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Support Chill Talk. You see the information in there. Support these people. Support these sisters. Support. Be aware. Find out more information about autism. This is Autism Awareness Month, and obviously we need to be aware above and beyond this month. But we gotta get it started for making people aware. They have to get aware in order to stay aware. So we appreciate you guys. We up out of here. Ankh and Shawn, what do you all have coming up next? What's next? Who you
I got a
arguing with
conversation.
next? Who you conversating? Who's the
I got the conversation with Rizza Islam on
Oh,
Dr.
really?
Castro. Yeah.
You did you have to pay Rizza Islam to?
Nah, he don't realize it. He don't know who I am.
Oh, you
yet.
sneaking up on him. Okay.
He don't know.
Okay,
He ain't figured it out.
When is that?
It should be that. I think it's this weekend, right, Shawn?
Okay, I'm not.
I think so.
I'm sneaking up on Rizza Islam.
I'm gonna start studying an hour before.
So that's all you need for Rizza?
Yeah, we're gonna even it up a little bit. I want to make it fun. I want to give him a head start.
All right. Well, hey, everybody wants to definitely, because Rizza Islam is putting out a lot of health information out here, and which he's targeting the Black community. So we will stay tuned for that. Shawn, when can we look for another Science by Shawn? What's next on deck?
I do them kind of randomly as new information develops. I did one yesterday, and I was going to do one today, pretty much like a question and answer, but I just wanted people to understand, like, just because Johnson & Johnson paused vaccinating people, that doesn't mean that it's a bad vaccine. They are specifically trying to understand the platelets with the 6 women, right? And the blood that caused pretty much the blood clots. So once they can iron out, what happened with these 6 European women, then they can be more specific, because 7 million, almost 7 million people, 6.8 to be exact, received the vaccine, and these are rare cases, and it didn't happen before, so they're just trying to understand what will cause that in these 6 European women. It haven't happened in any other group, and they're just trying to be specific. They want the vaccine to be safe, so pausing still creates the safety measures. So, I mean, Science with Shawn, I might do something tomorrow. I do get my second Moderna shot tomorrow, the booster. So I'm gonna be a little sore. And we'll talk about that experience. You know what I mean?
Okay. All right. Appreciate you guys. We up out of here. Thanks for supporting Chill Talk. We love y'all.
Hey, Chill.
Yes.
See, that proves science works.
Hey, when Johnson & Johnson puts a pause on it, that means they that's right.
It just proves that science is working.
Because if they were trying to kill us, they just let it ride.
Yeah, if they was killing us, why would you stop something that's potentially harming people? It doesn't make sense. Like, keep that rolling. Don't tell them you got them. You're gonna get 1 person per million.
What's that, Shawn? What's that? Six people out of how many million?
One, yeah. So no.
That's like 0.0000.
No. Out of the 6 people that with the blood clots, 1 person transitioned something.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's 1 in 6.8 million people, I would say. with a rare blood clot disease. So yeah, it's like
Hell.
0 point. It's the math
It-
behind it
That's
doesn't
like
substantiate.
0 point about 5, 6 zeros
That's a
and
That's a
a
diabolical. That's a hell of a biological weapon that is employed on the
Yeah,
black
it's a
community.
that's a failure.
What are you talking about?
all right. Hey, there we go. Anyway, we up out of here, guys. We love y'all. We
You
gone.
got them looking
All
at
right,
they
sisters.
laughing. They laughing
Peace.
at us. Look, they laughing at us.
Yeah, we had fun with the science.
All right, we gone, guys. Bye.
Thank you.
All right, sis. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, thank y'all very much.